Hello, fellow students, group members, and professor. My name is Makita Jackson. I'd like to first apologize for not being present for the presentation today in class. I had a family emergency that arose and required me to leave town. Not sure if I was going to return in time or not for class. So after speaking with my group members, Fran and Morgan, we agreed that me adding a video to our slide to at least describe the material that I was responsible for collecting can help out and also ensure that I get to participate as well and not leave them stranded. Um, so once again, I do apologize. We were doing our presentation on Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who is a prominent poet, critic, and philosopher of the Romanticism era. Um, Samuel Taylor Coleridge was the youngest child of 14 children from his father John, 10 of his siblings, which he shared the same mother, Anna. John Coleridge was said to be a vicar parish pastor, I believe that is. Also held a master's in grammar school. So Samuel was always surrounded by literature. He was said to have attended Christ Hospital after the death of his father to continue his education. Sorry about that. To continue his education. While there, he came across many other poets and people who inspired and befriended him, and they worked together. Um, During his time there, he penned a letter to Thomas Poole, and in the letter, he described to Thomas on how, as a youngster, the sun would hit the sunshine would hit the books of his collection and just intrigue his mind and bring interest where he would go and just curl up against a wall and read books. And by the age of 6, one journal article, stated that he began reading at the age of 3. And another said that by 6, in his letter to Thomas Poole, he recalls by the age of 6 hadn't read material like the likes of Robinson Crusoe and Philip Quail, as well as the Arabian Nights entertainments. That one he had said also in a letter, which was the most prominent to him and sparked the interest. During his schooling at Christ Hospital, he won a Brown's Gold Medal for a day that he wrote on the slave trade. Also, after spending his childhood at Christ Hospital, Samuel Taylor College attended Jesus College or Jesus College. Not sure how it's pronounced there. During his time there, he met the likes of other poets and traveled and learned. Wherever he traveled, he tried to intake the philosophy, such as like the German philosophy and their language, which in turn helped him to become a translator and translating material. During the time period of 1796, after completing without a degree Jesus or Jesus College, Samuel was said to have started a weekly journal newspaper, which called The Watchman. This Watchman only lasted about 2 months, giving 10 issues. Samuel wanted to avoid paying the newspaper tax, so instead of doing a weekly print, he did an 8-day print. So every 8 days. But like I said, The Watchman only lasted for 10 issues, 2 months, March 1796 to May 1796. After that, or during that time period in 1795, he met Williams Wordsworth, which we learned last week that him together with Williams Wordsworth, that they collectively published a volume of poetry called the Lyrical Ballads. I also want to backtrack one little step to tell you guys that also that Samuel published his verse volume in 1796 of poems on various subjects, which was his first volume of poetry. That was 1796, right before he began that 10-issue liberal political journal article, The Watchman. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, when he attended Christ University, that was for studying and writing poetry, and when he went to Jesus or Jesus College, he found himself intrigued by political and theological ideas, which I believe helped him become a great philosopher. So like I said, he worked with Wordsworth to publish their volume of poetry. In this volume of poetry, the Lyrical Ballads, Samuel Taylor Coleridge wrote a piece called The Rime of Ancient Mariner. This was a very influential piece, which many people even today can still relate to pieces in it. It said that the Rime of Ancient Mariner is supposed to be like his obsession versus remorse and life and death and choices. It said that Samuel has also, Mr. Coleridge, has also written a lot of pieces pertaining to experiences he went through childhood, adulthood. He had a childhood illness, which being treated, he became addicted to opium. Once his addiction started really kicking in, it starts affecting his work and his lectures and things that he did, and it would start really decreasing, and he was getting a bad look. During his lectures, he did the likes of lectures of Shakespeare and Hamlet. Hamlet is noted that was a very prominent, notable lecture that he gave on Hamlet, which his thoughts are still used in reprints, because he was one of the only critics to give Hamlet some leeway in his works. So his thoughts are still being used today. And to touch on a lot of his work, he was not, like I said, also not only a philosopher, he wrote dramas and, well, in the poetry, we know he did poetry, but he wrote dramas. One of his most successful plays was The Remorse, which was dated for 1813, and it said that he not only produced this piece, he directed it as well. So like I said, he was a great traveler, and he learned from the world around him, and which probably made him the most prominent, and why he's considered one of the biggest critics. Some of his most famous pieces you will see on the slides coming up with the Biography Literary, The Friend, which was his second periodic piece. That one he did 25 issues, lasted a good while, and was his most influential was the Biography Literary. Don't mean to backtrack, I apologize. But a lot of his things came from pains and things that he experienced. One thing they stated was that during his school and younger days that he was very lonely and often missed his home life. So if you read The Frost of Nighttime, I believe is the name of that poem, The Frost. That was about his loneliness of missing his home life. But he has several pieces that you will see in this slide, and I hope that this video shined a little bit of light onto him. But his work is dated from 1796 to the mid-1820s, where he moved in with a family that the doctor Gilliam, I believe is how you say his name, helped him kick some of his habit of opium. Like I said, it was affecting his work. This doctor wasn't able to help him get rid of the habit, but at least decrease his intake, where now his lectures were more understood, and he can get back to building his work up. While there, it says that most of his noble pieces came from when he was at his resident living with his family. So, thank God for him. To sum it all up in the whole thing, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, in my opinion, was a great philosopher because he was interested in literature for many, many years. From childhood, reading at 3 and reading novels or largest works at 6. He's always might have got the niche from his father, in my opinion. I wanted to sum this up to say that his work is still being reprinted up until 2002 when we had the Opus Maximum is said to be a group of his work. Thank you guys for listening and have a good day.